The cargo bay was silent. Captain Reeve stood alone, watching the strange wooden box in front of him. It was old, made of dark wood, with golden symbols carved into its surface. The box had no label, no buttons, no sign of how to open it. It had arrived as a gift from the Baron of Draxen, given just before Reeve left the alien world. He had accepted it politely, thinking it was some rare artifact or decoration. But now something felt wrong, very wrong. The lights flickered. Then it happened. The box moved just a little, a soft shake, almost like something breathing inside. Reeve froze, his hand moving slowly to the side of his blaster. Then a sound, very soft, came from the box. It was a voice, quiet, weak, and afraid. "Is someone there?" Reeve's heart pounded. He wasn't imagining it. Someone or something was inside that box, and it was alive. He called for backup, but his crew was busy fixing the ship's engine. This gift was not what it seemed. He stepped closer and knelt beside the box. "Hello?" he said gently. "Who's in there?" No answer, only slow breathing, like a child asleep. The box had no lock, but when he touched the golden symbol in the center, it glowed. With a small hum, the lid lifted by itself. Inside was a curled-up figure, small and fragile-looking. It was a girl, maybe 15 in human years, but she wasn't human. Her skin was soft blue, her long hair white as snow, and strange glowing lines ran along her arms and cheeks. She was wearing a simple gown, torn and dusty, and her eyes were closed. Reeve leaned in closer, checking her breathing. Yes, she was alive, but weak and cold. He quickly called his ship's medic. Within minutes, the girl was moved to the medbay, placed under observation. His crew looked at him in shock. "You brought a living being in a box?" the medic asked, confused and worried. Reeve didn't know how to explain. He only said, "She was a gift from the Baron." But everyone knew this was no ordinary gift. Hours passed. The girl finally woke up, her eyes opening slowly, glowing with a soft violet light. When she saw Reeve, she gasped and backed away, trembling. "No more cages," she whispered. "Please, no more cages." Reeve raised his hands, showing he meant no harm. "You're safe here," he said. "I'm Captain Reeve. What's your name?" She shook her head slowly, tears in her eyes. "I don't know," she whispered. "They called me." "Nothing." The medic scanned her, eyes widening. "Captain," she said, "her DNA. It's not from any known species, and her cells, they're not aging normally." "What do you mean?" Reeve asked. "She's not growing or changing like normal beings," the medic replied. "She's preserved, maybe frozen in time." Reeve's mind raced. Why would the Baron give her to him? Was she dangerous? Was she some kind of weapon or experiment? Or was she just a scared girl, used by powerful beings as a tool? Later that night, Reeve stayed by her side, watching her sleep. She was breathing calmly now, but small lights floated around her body, fading in and out like sparks. Suddenly, she whispered something in her sleep. "The fire, the stars, they screamed." Reeve leaned closer, trying to understand. Then she opened her eyes and looked straight into his. "You're the one," she said softly. "You're the key." Reeve blinked, confused. "What key?" he asked, but she closed her eyes again, falling back to sleep. Reeve sat back, troubled. This was no normal child, and if the Baron had sent her as a gift, then it meant something bigger was happening, something dangerous. He stared out the window of the medbay, looking at the stars. They seemed peaceful. But deep in his heart, Reeve knew the real storm was just beginning. And it had started with the box that moved. Captain Reeve sat alone in his room, staring at the glowing report on his screen. The girl from the box was now resting in the medbay, her vital signs stable, her eyes sometimes open, sometimes closed. But the questions in Reeve's mind would not rest. Why had the Baron sent her? What kind of gift was a living, breathing alien girl? He thought back to that final meeting on Draxen 9. The Baron had smiled too much, his voice too calm. "A token of respect," he had said. "A gift for your loyalty." At the time, Reeve thought it was something harmless, a statue maybe, or a piece of alien history. Not this, not a girl, scared and trembling, left alone in a box. Reeve stood up and walked to the medbay. He found her sitting up this time, back against the wall. Knees pulled to her chest, she watched him quietly, her glowing eyes half shut. "You don't need to be afraid," he said gently. "You're safe now." She looked at him, then slowly nodded. "I know," she whispered. "You're not like them." Reeve sat on the chair beside her bed. "Who are you?" he asked softly. "Where are you from?" She looked down, voice shaking. "They called me Neela," she said. "But I don't know if that's my real name." Reeve tilted his head. "What do you remember?" he asked. Neela closed her eyes and began to speak. "I remember cold walls, bright lights, voices always talking but never listening," she said. "They said I was made, not born," Reeve frowned. "Made," he repeated, "like in a lab?" She nodded. "I heard one of them call me a vessel," she whispered. "Another said I was a seed of the old war." Reeve's skin grew cold. Old war, vessel. What was this girl carrying, and why him? Why give her to a human captain from Earth? As he was lost in thought, Neela suddenly placed a hand on his arm. Her touch was warm, but strange, and something happened. Reeve saw a flash in his mind. A star exploding, voices crying, and Neela floating in space, her body glowing like fire. He pulled away, gasping. "What was that?" he asked, breathing hard. Neela looked scared. "I didn't mean to," she said. "It happens when I touch people for too long, they see my echoes." Reeve stood up and stepped back, unsure what to believe. Was she really just a scared girl? Or something far more dangerous? Later, Reeve met with his science officer. "I need to know what she is," he said, handing over the scan data. The officer studied it, eyes wide. "Captain, her body isn't like anything I've ever seen," she said. "Her cells can absorb energy, even store it, and there's something else." "What?" Reeve asked. The officer paused, nervous. "She has a second set of neural activity, almost like a backup mind, silent, waiting." Reeve's heart dropped. "What does that mean?" he asked. "It means," the officer said slowly, "she might be carrying something inside her, something that could wake up later." Reeve walked back to the medbay, this time with a different look in his eyes. He stood at the door, watching Neela as she looked out the window. She seemed peaceful, even innocent. But what if she wasn't? What if the Baron gave her to him not as a gift, but as a test? Neela turned her head and saw him. "Are you angry at me?" she asked softly. "No," Reeve said. "Just confused." She nodded slowly. "I don't want to hurt anyone," she whispered. "I just want to stay with you." "Why me?" he asked. "Why did they give you to me?" Neela looked away, tears in her eyes. "They said, you are the key," she whispered. "If I bond with the right one, I awaken." Reeve felt a chill. "Bond? Awaken?" "I don't want to awaken," she added, voice shaking. "I just want to be free." Reeve stepped closer and placed a hand on her shoulder. "You're not a tool," he said firmly. "You're not a gift or a weapon. You're a person. And I'll make sure no one uses you again." For the first time, Neela smiled, a small, gentle smile. But outside the ship, far beyond their sensors, a dark shape moved through space. A ship without lights, without name. Its orders were clear track. The girl, retrieve the host, or destroy them both. And it was getting closer. Neela sat in the corner of the medbay, hugging her knees, her eyes glowing softly in the dark. Captain Reeve stood near the doorway, watching her in silence. He had too many questions and very few answers. She was not just a girl in a box, she was something more, something old, powerful, and dangerous. But she also looked fragile, scared, and tired. Reeve stepped closer, pulling a chair beside her bed. "Neela," he said gently, "can you tell me more about what you remember?" She turned her head slowly, her voice a whisper. "I don't remember everything," she said. "Only pieces." "Like what?" Reeve asked. She closed her eyes and her body trembled. Pain, she said. Metal walls, sharp voices, bright lights, and fire. What fire? Reeve asked. She looked up at him, her eyes full of fear. The stars were screaming, she whispered. They were dying. Reeve's heart sank. He had seen war, but nothing like what she was describing. Do you remember who did this to you? He asked. I think I was made to remember, she said slowly. They called it Project Seraph. They said I was the last vessel. Reeve froze. He had heard that name once. Long ago, hidden deep in military records. A secret experiment. From before the Alliance Wars, something about using ancient tech to create living weapons. You were part of Project Seraph? He asked. I was the project, she said. They made me sleep in time and they said, one day someone will come who can hold the key. Reeve felt a cold chill in his spine. Was he that someone? And what would happen if the key was turned? Suddenly, the ship shook. A soft alarm buzzed through the hallway. Reeve touched his earpiece. What's happening? He asked. Unidentified ship approaching. The bridge officer replied. No signals, no ID. Stealth tech active. Reeve ran to the command deck, leaving Neela in the care of the medic. He stared at the screen, seeing the dark shape moving. Through space, it's a hunter drone, his officer said. Old model but deadly. Reeve's eyes narrowed. They found her, he said. The drone ship fired a pulse designed not to destroy, but to disable. The lights flickered, and systems began to shut down. We're losing power, the engineer shouted. Main engines offline. Reeve grabbed the emergency controls, switching to backup systems. Get her to the escape pod, he ordered. If they want her, they'll have to go through me first. But Neela was already on the move. She walked into the command deck, her hands glowing with energy. Stop, she said. Softly, the crew stared at her, unsure what she was doing. She raised one hand, and the lights brightened again, power slowly returning to the ship. Reeve watched in shock as Neela took control of the ship's systems with her mind. Don't let them take me, she whispered. Please. Reeve stepped forward. They won't, he said. We'll fight. But Neela shook her head. You can't destroy them, she said. But I can. She reached out her glowing hand, and through the window, they saw a beam of light shoot from the ship. It struck the hunter drone directly, and in seconds, enemy ship exploded into pieces. Silence filled the room. Everyone stared at Neela, unsure whether to cheer or be afraid. She collapsed to the floor, her body shaking. Reeve caught her in his arms. You saved us, he said. She looked at him with tired eyes. I didn't want to, she whispered. But I had to, or they would have taken you too. Reeve nodded, holding her close. You're safe now, he said. I promise. Later, as she rested, Reeve read through the old files about Project Seraph. One thing stood out, a warning from the scientists who created it. The Seraph is not meant to be controlled. Once bonded to a host, it will protect, but it will also awaken. Reeve closed the file. His jaw tight. Neela was changing, and now so was he. The stars outside the window looked calm, but inside the ship, Captain Reeve felt anything but peace. He sat beside Neela's bed, watching her breathe slowly, her body still glowing faintly after the blast she had released. She had saved everyone, destroyed the enemy drone with her power. But now she looked weak and pale. Reeve reached for her hand, just to check her pulse. But the moment his skin touched hers, he felt something strange. A soft warmth spread through his arm, then his chest, then his mind. Images filled his thoughts, flashes of Neela's memories, cold labs, scientists arguing, voices saying, she must bond with the right one. Reeve gasped and pulled his hand away. But the connection didn't break. He could still feel her inside his mind. Neela opened her eyes slowly, her voice soft and tired. It started, she whispered. The bond is waking. What bond? Reeve asked, his voice shaking. I didn't choose this, she said. It's something the creators built into me. When I get close to the right person, it begins on its own. Reeve stood up and took a deep breath. What does it mean? he asked. Neela sat up slowly, her hands glowing again, but dimmer now. It means I'll become part of you, she said. Our minds will link, our energy will mix. You'll feel what I feel. Is that dangerous? Reeve asked. Neela looked away. It depends, she whispered. If the bond is completed, I disappear. And you become the weapon. Reeve felt like the floor moved under his feet. That's what they wanted? He asked. For you to become a tool for someone else? She nodded, tears forming in her glowing eyes. I was made to serve, she said. But I don't want that. I just want to live. Reeve sat down again, his voice calm but firm. Then we break the plan, he said. We control the bond, not them. Neela smiled, a little hope in her eyes. But it's not that easy, she said. Now that it's started, the signal is out. Others will come. Reeve's come beeped, and his officer's voice filled the room. Captain, long-range scanners picked up movement. Another ship is approaching. Reeve stood quickly and ran to the command deck. A large vessel was closing in, bigger than the hunter drone, darker, with more weapons. It's not sending any ID, the officer said, but it's locking onto our ship. Reeve's jaw tightened. They know she's here, he said. Raise shields. Prepare for evasive action. The enemy ship fired, lasers flying past their shields, shaking the entire ship. Reeve turned to the weapons officer. Return fire, aim to disable, he ordered. But their shots had little effect. The enemy ship was too strong and getting closer. Suddenly, the lights dimmed again, and everyone heard a soft humming sound. Neela stepped onto the bridge, her eyes glowing brighter than ever. You can't win this with guns, she said quietly. Reeve looked at her, worried. What are you doing here? He asked. I'm part of the ship now, she said. And part of you. She raised her hands, and a wave of energy flowed through the ship. The enemy weapons froze, their engines slowed, their lights flickered. Reeve could feel her inside his mind again, but it wasn't painful this time. It was warm, steady, like two hearts beating together. Neela spoke again, her voice stronger. They can't take me, she said, because I chose you. The enemy ship turned and began to retreat. Systems failing one by one, Reeve stood in silence, watching the screen as the dark ship disappeared into the stars. Then he turned to Neela. You could have destroyed them, he said. But you didn't, she nodded. I'm not a weapon, she said. Not anymore. Later, in the quiet of the ship, Reeve stood by the observation window, thinking about what had just happened. The bond between him and Neela was growing deeper every hour. He could feel her emotions even when she wasn't near. Fear, sadness, but also hope. She had been made to become a weapon, but now she was becoming something else. And so was he. Whatever came next, they would face it together, not as master and tool, but as two lives joined by choice, not design. News travels fast across space, even when no one speaks it aloud. Within hours of the enemy ship's retreat, a secret message had spread from system to system. It said only one thing: the human captain is carrying the girl, and now, every power in the galaxy wanted her. Captain Reeve stood at the bridge, reading intercepted messages from unknown sources. One line repeated over and over: recover the Seraph vessel at all costs. He turned toward Neela, who stood silently near the observation glass, watching the stars. She could feel it too. The way space was growing colder, like many eyes were watching. They know about me now, she whispered. They know I'm alive. Reeve nodded, his face serious. Yes, he said, but they don't know who you really are. I don't know either, Neela said, her voice soft. I only know what they made me for. Reeve stepped closer, placing a hand gently on her shoulder. You're not what they made, he said. You're what you choose to become. Suddenly, the alarm rang across the ship. A pirate ship was closing in fast. No warning, no message, weapons hot. They must have followed the signal. The officer said, they're after her. Reeve didn't waste time. All crew to battle stations, he said. Defend the ship, protect Neela. The enemy fired. A burst of plasma striking their shields, shaking the whole ship. Reeve gripped the control panel, staring at the enemy on the screen. They were not ordinary pirates, they had advanced tech. Likely hired by someone powerful, the crew responded. Fast, returning fire, dodging blasts, keeping shields up. But they were losing power quickly. Then Neela stepped forward, her eyes shining bright. "Let me help," she said. "No," Reeve said quickly. "You just recovered. You'll get hurt again." "I'm already part of this ship," she said calmly. "I can feel its pain. I can protect it." Before Reeve could argue, Neela placed her hand on the ship's core interface. A wave of energy flowed through the walls, lighting up every screen, stabilizing every system. Then a new wave burst out, aimed straight at the pirate ship. Their weapons jammed, their engines slowed. And then silence. The pirate ship was dead in space, drifting, powerless. Reeve stared in awe, the crew speechless. They had seen her power before, but now it felt different. Controlled, focused, precise. Neela turned to him, breathing a little heavier. "I'm okay," she said. "But they'll keep coming." Reeve nodded slowly. "Then we keep moving," he said. "But first, we need answers." He connected to an old friend, Commander Vex, a retired historian and intelligence officer. Vex appeared on screen, his eyes sharp. "You found her, didn't you?" Vex said right away. "The last Seraph." Reeve didn't deny it. "Yes," he said. "But she's not what they think." Vex leaned forward, lowering his voice. "You need to listen," he said. "There are things you don't know," he told them about ancient files, about a war where planets were burned, not by fleets, but by a single bonded Seraph. The host and the vessel became one, unstoppable, until their hearts broke, and the weapon turned cold. Every government is scared. "She might awaken again," Vex said. "They want her under control or destroyed." Reeve looked at Neela, who sat quietly beside him, eyes full of emotion. "She doesn't want war," Reeve said. "She wants peace. She wants a life." "That doesn't matter to them," Vex said. "You're going to have to protect her with everything you have." After the call ended, Reeve walked to Neela and sat beside her. "They'll chase us forever," he said. "You understand that, right?" She nodded, tears in her eyes. "I'm sorry," she said, "for bringing danger to your crew." "You didn't bring danger," Reeve said gently. "You brought meaning." At that moment, another message arrived, not from an enemy, but from a hidden world, one that welcomed lost beings, one that remembered the old wars but chose peace. Reeve read it aloud. "Come to Sanctuary Station. We will offer safety, not chains." Neela looked at him with hope. "Do you trust them?" she asked. "I don't know," he said, "but it's a start. Together." They set a course for the hidden station, knowing that many more would come hunting. But now Nyla had a name, a voice, and a purpose beyond what she was made for, and the galaxy was starting to learn who she really was. Not just a vessel, not just a weapon, but Neela. Sanctuary Station floated in deep space, hidden behind an asteroid field and protected by ancient cloaking tech. It was not on any map, not listed in any system. It was built for one reason, to protect those who had nowhere else to go. Captain Reeve's ship slowly approached the station. Lights dim, weapons cold. Neela stood beside him on the bridge, her eyes glowing softly as she looked at the station through the window. "It feels calm," she said. Reeve nodded. "It's the first place that didn't ask us to hand you over," he said as they docked. A message came in from the station's leader. Her name was Malinin, an older alien woman with silver skin and wise eyes. "We welcome you, Captain Reeve," she said. "And the Seraph child. She has a name." Reeve replied, "Her name is Nyla." Malin smiled gently. "Then Neela is welcome too," she said. "But be warned, others are coming. Your journey is not over." Inside the station, they were given shelter, food, and rest. The crew finally relaxed for the first time in days, but Reeve couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about the bond forming between him and Nyla. It was growing stronger, deeper, and he could now feel her thoughts even from another room. She could feel his emotions too. The connection was no longer just strange energy, it was real. And it was changing them both. Malin called for a meeting in the central chamber. Leaders from different species sat in silence as Reeve and Neela entered. "We've read the old records," one elder said. "The seraph was made to be a weapon of final war." Reeve stood tall, his voice calm. "She's not a weapon," he said, "not anymore. But the bond is already forming." Malin said, "And once complete, her energy will become part of you. You'll be able to destroy entire fleets with one thought." "I don't want that power," Reeve said firmly. "I never asked for it." "Then you must choose now," another leader said. "Break the bond or use it." Neela looked down, her hands shaking. "If we break the bond," she said softly, "I might disappear." Reeve turned to her. Surprised, "What do you mean?" he asked. "I was designed to merge with the host," she said. "If that process is stopped halfway, I won't survive." A heavy silence fell across the room. The leaders looked at each other, unsure what to say. Reeve stepped forward, his voice steady. "I will not sacrifice her," he said, "even if it means giving up that power." Malin sighed, her voice kind but serious. "Then others will come, those who do want that power, those who will try to take her by force. Then let them come," Reeve said. "I'll protect her." That night, Neela sat with Reeve in the ship's quiet corner, watching stars flicker outside. "You could have let them break the bond," she said. "You could have saved yourself." Reeve smiled gently. "But I would have lost you," he said. "And I'm not ready for that." Neela leaned her head on his shoulder, a single tear sliding down her cheek. "No one ever chose me before," she whispered. "I was always something to use, something to fear." "Now you're someone to protect," Reeve said, "and someone worth fighting for." Suddenly, alarms rang through the station. A fleet had arrived, ships marked with the symbol of the Silent Syndicate, a secret force known for capturing rare tech and living weapons. "They're here for her." Malin's voice called through the cum. "You must leave now." Reeve ran to the bridge, calling his crew to prepare for emergency launch. Neela followed, her eyes glowing brighter. "I'll help," she said. "We can't let them take the station down." Reeve looked at her, then nodded. "Together," he said. As they launched from the docking bay, Syndicate ships opened fire, but Reeve's ship moved fast, shields holding strong. Neela focusing her energy to block the incoming blasts. They flew through the asteroid field, dodging rocks and enemy shots, until finally, they broke free into open space. Behind them, the station stayed hidden, untouched, protected by its defenses. But now, the war had begun. The galaxy had learned her name, and Reeve had made his choice. He would not give her up, not let her die, not let anyone use her again. She was Neela, not a weapon, not a tool, and she was his to protect. The stars around them were quiet, but Captain Reeve knew the silence would not last. Neela stood beside him on the bridge, her eyes glowing brighter than ever before. The bond between them was now strong, stronger than anything Reeve had ever known. He could feel her thoughts, her emotions, even before she spoke. She could feel his pain, his fear, and his hope. They were no longer two separate beings. They were one, but something else had awakened with their connection, something ancient, something powerful. Suddenly, the warning lights on the ship blinked red. A new vessel was approaching, huge, black and silent. No signal, no ID. Just a dark presence moving through space. It stopped just outside firing range, waiting, watching. Neela gasped, holding her head. "I know that ship," she whispered. "It's him." Reeve turned to her, confused. "Who?" he asked. "The one who created me," she said. "He's here." Reeve stared at the massive ship, his heart heavy. The final piece of the puzzle had arrived. The creator, the one who started Project Seraph. And now he had come to finish it. Message came through, voice cold and sharp. "Human Captain," it said. "You hold something that belongs to me." Reeve replied, his voice steady. "She doesn't belong to anyone," he said. "She's free." The voice laughed, not with joy, but with hunger. "She's not free," it said. She's incomplete. She's only a tool until she fully awakens. And only I can finish it. I won't let you near her, Reeve said, standing firm. You don't understand. The voice replied, she is the key, but you are the door. Together, you will become the perfect weapon. Reeve looked at Neela, who was now trembling. Is it true? He asked, will something happen to us if the bond finishes? Neela nodded, tears in her glowing eyes. If it completes fully, she whispered, I disappear forever, and you become something. Something not human. Reeve stepped forward, fire in his voice. Then we won't finish it, he said. We'll stop it. The voice spoke one last time. If you try to fight me, you will both be erased. The enemy ship charged its weapons. Energy building fast, Reeve turned to his crew. Prepare for battle, he ordered. This is the last stand. Neela stepped in front of the command panel, her hands glowing with light. I'll protect you. She said. No, Reeve said. We do this together. He placed his hand on hers, and the bond pulsed with power. A wave of energy spread across the ship, shielding it in a glowing shell. The enemy fired, massive beams of destruction crashing against their shield, but nothing broke through. Reeve felt the bond pushing harder, trying to complete, trying to take control. But he resisted, holding on to his humanity, his memories, his promise to Neela. She cried out, the pressure too much. I can't hold it, she whispered. It's too strong. Reeve closed his eyes and whispered back, then don't fight it alone, share it with me. Their minds joined fully, not to become a weapon, but to become something else. Not destruction, but balance. Not fear, but trust. The energy shifted, turning from fire to light, from war to peace. Their ship glowed like a star, brighter than anything around. And then, the dark vessel cracked, broken. From the inside, the enemy screamed, not in words, but in pain. The Creator was undone, not by battle, but by the one thing he could never control, love. The light faded slowly, and Reeve opened his eyes. He was still standing, still alive. But Neela was gone. Her body lay quiet, her glow gone. Reeve knelt beside her, tears in his eyes. I'm here, he whispered. I didn't let go. Then softly her fingers moved. Her eyes opened slowly, no longer glowing, but warm and alive. You didn't lose me, she said, smiling weakly. You found me. Reeve held her hand, relief flooding his heart. The bond had changed, not ended. It was no longer about power. It was about choice. She chose to live, he chose to protect, and together, they chose to be free. The galaxy would never forget the day the last seraph awakened. Not to destroy, but to save. And the human who made the impossible choice, love over power,